Welcome to the Warband, a World of Warcraft podcast. My name is Swaglock, and with me tonight, right here in the studio, and by in the studio, I mean not in the studio. He's at his house, I'm at my house. We're recording the Warband with Chicken. Dude, Chicken, how are you doing? Welcome on 82nd time guest of the Warband podcast.
That's weird that you say that. Because I was just thinking, like, low key, I was like, we never reference what episode we are on, but for some reason, this like I was serious. I was thinking that I was like, some reason this week I feel like we should just mention what episode we are on.
Episode 83.
Dude, that was weird. Like, I was just like, we never mention what episode we're on, but some reason, like, I was just like, I don't know why. It just feels like this one we should do it. That's weird. Anyways, I don't believe in signs, but actually I do believe in signs.
Well, yeah, dude, there's a lot of signs this week that are happening in WoW. Signs that maybe you should give up tanking because tanks are dying too easily. Or signs that Liquid's probably going to win the race to world first based upon current numbers and contentions. Dude, it is, maybe we'll talk about that first because you and I aren't like super competitive WoW players, but we casually like to kind of keep an eye on race to world first.
Dude, what a
see what's
joke.
going on. I think I love watching Liquid win because, dude, I don't know, I just really enjoy it. To me, Liquid represents like me as a player, even though they don't, but to me they do, right? Because I'm an American player. I play on the NA servers, right? Like, I want Liquid to win. If Echo wins or Chinese Guild wins, I'll be sad, right? Like, I'll be like, oh, dang it. They're better than us, right? So I always feel really good about that. But it is a weird race, right? Because so far Liquid is in the lead. They've won both race to world firsts,
dude.
For the two available raids.
It's kind of a joke this year.
Yeah,
dude. Last time they ever do this, brother.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, you have the two that are out right now. My thing, though, too, is, like, as a viewer, it's kind of weird. And I get it. Blizzard's not designing for the race to world first, and I don't think they should design for the race to world first. And, I don't think they should.
No, they shouldn't. Definitely not.
Yeah. But at the same time, I also enjoy having it go on. I think it brings hype to WoW. I think it's ultimately, like, a good thing for World of Warcraft that this exists. And, the whole, like, oh, well, now we have to wait a week kind of feels weird because it's like a race, but then halfway through the race or towards the end of... Actually, it's not even halfway. It's like towards the end of the race, right? So, like, if you have 10 laps, right? It's like 10 laps, and on lap 7... Well, actually, 9 laps, if we're going to be accurate, right? 9 laps, and then on lap 7, everybody has to stop and wait till everyone else catches up, right? And then start going again. Right? Like,
it's like NASCAR, but they stop at lap 390 out of 400, and then a week later they come and finish the race.
Yeah, it is a little bit odd, and I feel bad for the players, right? The players that are in it because they go hard. They go so hard at this. They work so hard to compete in the race to world first. And when you go hard like that, you can only do that for so long, right? Like, you can only sustain that for such a period of time. And for those who are listening, the race to world first players, they're not like during this week, now that they've beat both raids that are out, they're not sitting there on their hands. They're still...
Oh, heck no, dude.
They're still running 20 characters through keys, right? They're running 20 characters through mythic splits, heroic splits, trying to get any and every piece of gear they can get on all their characters to see which one edges out just a little bit higher that they can continue to push. And
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, right? Like they're not going to... It's not like they get a break. They don't... I mean, we get a break as viewers. You can watch the splits, but nobody watches the splits. So you can get a...
Dude.
Yeah, what? You watch the splits?
I don't, but I was just saying, dude, if Capo wasn't doing his thing, dude, you might be able to get Mythic raid done.
That's true. Yeah, he's retired.
Maybe, I don't know.
He's gone now. He's retired.
Well... I have a couple more thoughts on this, but I want to talk about your initial week, as we always do.
Well, why don't we finish? Why don't we finish that conversation?
No,
And then,
because it's no, dude. Dude, I have so many other thoughts about it. I mean, it's up to you. It's up to you.
yeah, let's talk about that. Let's just dive into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to hear. I'm just. I think I speak for myself and the listeners, dude. We love hearing your thoughts on things.
Maybe. Now you're putting me on the spot. I'm like, wait, what were my actual questions? No, I mean, to be honest, I watched it a bit today. I've been following it, but I haven't really watched it. My biggest thing that I wanted to do was like, hey, like I want to check out the UI and see what people are doing with like
They're using add-ons,
right?
They're using add-ons.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're using add-ons, dude. Guess what? You know the only people who lost the add-ons? The pores. Us. It's us, the pores. We lost add-ons. Those Race to World First guilds, they're still rocking their add-ons, right? They've got those personal developers in their pockets making custom stuff. And will those add-ons eventually make it to market? Probably, right? But it is
not.
and I remember hearing even on like some of the different podcasts and live streams I've listened to, like hints here and there of like, hey, we're kind of developing our own thing on the side and we're letting Blizzard know what we're doing. Like Blizzard knows, we keep telling them, we're warning them, we're gonna do this. So
and it's just like interesting.
It's funny to me though, like how many like random small like little coding tricks and secrets did they find to like build these out so they could have their own tools still available?
Dude, I knew this was gonna happen, like 100%. I was like, there's no way that they don't just do their own thing. Like,
yeah, the add-on purge is only for the poor players who can't afford their own programmers.
Dude.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, AI is kind of in its own space that you might be able to. Maybe.
Dude, actually, low key,
have knowledge.
This is like a slight rabbit trail. Low key though, dude. I'm kind of tired of. I don't know. Not tired. Tired's not the word. I'm weary of all the vibe code add-ons that now exist, especially with the add-on purge, right? And everybody's like rushing to like put add-ons out, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, yo, you want me to run this in the background while I'm trying to play WoW, and you don't even know how it's made? You just asked the Grok to make it?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I like, AI add-ons are kind of an interesting concept, especially.
I'm not saying they're all bad. There's a caution. There's a caution there, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, imagine if your bank came forward and said, "Hey, your money app is now all just going to be an AI app," and you're just like, "Whoa,
yeah,
what?"
Right? Yeah, you only have like so much trust, right? And right now, dude, I don't know if you've had it happen where like I'm totally fine, and then mid key or like middle of raid or even just standing randomly in Silvermoon, and you're hit with like 800,000 Lua errors in like rapid fire machine gun, right?
Oh my gosh.
And you're like, oh, what do I do? What do I do with this,
whoa.
right? So like right now, I guess I'm probably more weary than normal of like, I'm running like minimal, because again, I want as few things that can just start spamming Lua errors at me.
Yeah, dude. No, I agree. That was the worst, dude. When pre-patch came out, you're just like ding ding.
Yep. So
you couldn't even play the game.
So two quick topics. Sorry, two quick topics before we dive into the actual what do we do this week. And these were gonna be saved for later, but I don't know, dude. My brain's just on them. So the first one, we were talking about Race to World First, but we were also talking about tanking. And dude, tanking feels like for those like this is like your first season playing WoW or whatever, or you haven't played WoW in a long time. Season 1s always feel kind of rough as a tank. Like there's always some issues. I think Guardian Druids are having some threat problems right now, which I mean, I've always had threat problems in a season 1.
Dude,
even last night at raid, I'm trying to like taunt, and I'm just not right. Like I can't even like taunt a mob over to me, and I'm just like, what the heck is going on right now, right? And it wasn't like one time. Wasn't that like one time? Oh, mistake with me. Like I hit taunt like 4 times on this dude. Well, I hit taunt twice, and I think I hit death grip twice on him. I'm like, yo, what's going on? So that was weird. But then the other thing too, man, dude, tanks tanks feel a lot squishier. A lot squishier than historically. Not horrendous in M plus. Like in M plus, I don't feel horrible. I'm doing fine. I just got my KSM today. I will talk about that later. So I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. But raid though, dude. Yeah, dude. I'm finding myself dying in raid. Our other tank, Kalryu, he's perfect, so he doesn't die. That's not true. He's died. He's died a few times too. Sometimes my fault though. It's sometimes my fault.
Interesting.
But dude, tanks are just dying a lot more, and I think some of it is like bosses are hitting hard, but then some of it's back to that add-on thing of just like tanks were in a weird spot where with add-ons tanking was too easy, and I'm not saying it's too hard now. I just think it's such a massive transition, right? It's a very big transition from waiting for the lady in your ear to go taunt now, right? Like, and you just like taunt, right? And then like you just wait till she tells you the taunt again, right? And now I'm like actually watching the stacks on my like other tank. I'm calling out when I need him to taunt off of me. He's doing the same. Like there's more communication happening, which is good. It also clogs up the voice chat a little bit more. But dude, yeah, tanking feels, I don't know, bro. As a tank, let me tell you, dude, like when I'm DPSing in a fight and I die, and I'm like, or I'm healing. Let's say I'm healing, right? Let's say I'm healing a fight and I die because I don't DPS raid. It's a little awkward. Like it's a little weird. Like, oh, sorry guys, I died. Whoopsie. And I just sit there, eat my sandwich, see if they send me a battle res, right? Move on with my day. I'm assuming if I'm a DPS, they won't send me a battle res because my DPS would suck anyways. But as a tank, dude, you die as a tank, and your finger is like just ready where the battle res button would pop up to like accept, right? Like you are panicking. You're like, can they do it? Can they do it? Can they do it?
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's a panic, right? I don't know, man. It feels crappy. It feels so like, I don't know. Blizzard just, I think they swung the pendulum a little too far in the other direction. And there's got to be a middle ground where tanking is a little bit of a challenge, right? Like, I want tanking to feel like a challenge. But I don't want like 3 out of every 5 wipes to be from the tank, you know?
Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah. Is it... So, when you say you think, most of it is just like, it's not like due to add-ons, it's just like the tank busters and just things are just hitting like way too hard.
It's a few things. I think add-ons are one. But I don't think add-ons are the only thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think it's a few things. There's a lot happening. Like chess is like the tic-tac-toe is fun, but even like doing that and like just having those like extra levels of calculation, honestly, so early in a raid is interesting, right? Like normally like your first boss is kind of like a nothing burger, and overall he's not. Now granted, our group had like a DPS check on him. Like we gear checked on him for heroic this week because we completed normal, so we're like, oh, let's just go give it a shot. Next week we'll probably be fine. People will be juiced up on heroic gear from M plus, so hopefully we'll be like, there'll be no problem. But that was a little weird. But I will say, though, like, I've been talking as if it's all just my personal experience, which I like speaking from personal experience because that's how I play the game, right? Like, what I experience is what I experience. However, if you actually, like, look at the charts, dude, tank deaths are, like, the majority of
oh, they're bad, dude.
Yeah. Tank deaths are, like, surprisingly bad. Now, this past week has been all the, like, if you're in heroic this past week, you're really trying to push, so you're probably a little bit better of a player. So like all the normal normies are gonna slowly, like myself, the AOTC normies, we're gonna start to make our way into heroic, and then you'll see those numbers change a little bit, right? You'll see that shift probably away from tanks as you just have more people in general dying on a fight, right? Whereas sometimes at the tank,
that's true. Yeah.
So you have like more people, so that will skew those numbers. But across the board, spec wise, tanks are in heroic dying, but just dying more than anyone else. So. I don't know. It just feels weird. It feels weird.
Yeah, that is a super because like you just wouldn't think it, right?
Yeah.
Like when you think of tanks, I'm just like, nah, dude, tank's always alive.
Yeah. And it's
Tanks,
a yeah.
especially in raid, dude. Like raid tanking is so easy.
Yeah. And but by the way though, maybe that's not good. Like maybe it's
maybe
not
that's
good, right?
yeah.
Maybe it needs to be harder. Maybe like a year from now, you and I look back and go like, oh, you know what? It took a moment to adjust, but actually
Yeah.
it's way more fun to tank raid now, right? Like it actually feels
That's
like
true.
something's happening.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of have to wait and see. Again, I haven't really pushed heroic though, right? Like we've just been doing normal. So we could go into heroic and I could turn around and be like, yo, this sucks. We also haven't had access to like good gear yet either, right? So who knows? Once you're like geared up, wearing full like heroic gear, some myth, maybe it becomes an absolute like nothing issue. And I don't want to be that guy who's just like, oh, my way of playing the game has gotten slightly harder. I'm gonna complain, you know. It's just I'm observing it. I wonder if it's something
Seems
we'll
like
see through the
over
season.
here complaining.
Yeah, a little bit, but again, it's just different, right? It's just different. It's gonna take me a second. Take me a second to adjust to. Yeah.
Dude, this like vaguely reminds me of like War Within, like intro to War Within when they made like those like crazy tank changes. And you couldn't just like, you know, what's it called? You couldn't death strike like from 0 to like 200% health.
Yo, dude, I still miss that, bro. You know how much I hate? Oh, dude, you know how much I hate hitting a death strike and it heals me for like 2% HP.
Yeah, it heals you for like 10%, and you're just like, what?
Like you're looking at your health, right? You're looking at your health, and you're like so low. You're so low, and you finally get like enough runic power to hit like a death strike. You're like, okay, I've saved up enough, and you hit death strike, and just nothing. You just get nothing.
What?
And that's and that's just utter panic, dude. I don't know, man. There's some days where I'm like, maybe I gotta just play a different tank, but I just can't stop. I love Blood DK, right? Like I love it, even if it's I don't know, man. There was a time though where it's like as a Blood DK, you walked in, and you're like, yeah, I won't die, unless it's higher than like a 18.
It's like a plus a billion.
Listen, that's also the other problem with Blood DK, right? The self healing means that they have to be designed in a way where their health is dropping enough to justify all that healing, but then like you get too high in M plus, and all the white swings just take you out.
Oh, true.
Yeah, so that's a trade-off. The other thing I wanted to bring back up, and we talked about this last week, but there's some more discourse about it in our Discord, right? Discourse in the Discord about it. I saw some like, more online. Yeah, play on words. Some more online. Even heard some others talking about it on the podcast, and it just kind of rehashed it for me a little bit, just thinking about it. But we were talking about race to world first, right? And this idea of achievements that can only be won by like a limited number of people, right? And so just kind of going back to that Delve thing, right? Of just like, so the Delve world first achievement, I think it was available to 4,000 people or something like that.
Yes, 4,000.
Right? 4,000 people.
4,000.
And then it was like within like 12 or 14 hours. I think 14 hours.
Yeah, it was
like
14 hours, right? Yeah, not a lot.
And it's tough because, you know, like I was talking to people, and what's difficult is that you could tell there's like a frustration because they wanted to have a chance at trying to do it, right? And they felt like the speed at which it filled up locked out people who maybe were busier, right? Who had family to take care of, jobs to take care of, et cetera, et cetera. And it's interesting to me, and the reason why it's interesting because no one says that about like race to world first for raid, right? Like nobody's sitting there like, oh, world first for mythic raid isn't available to like more people, or complaining that title range isn't easier to achieve, you know. And the only reason why I thought about that is because there's a nature to delves where the person the person who generally is excited for delves isn't that hyper competitive person, right? And so they see oftentimes I find that there's a link between people who enjoy delves and also people who enjoy just building up achievements in general, right? And so to tie an achievement to that, I think kind of hits on their hits on that a little bit, right? It kind of it's like a sore spot almost.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, but like I'm curious to go back and like I don't know if it's public or not, but like, do you think it's actually people that got it that are like Like I'm thinking like, like Dratnos. Like you think it's actually those people that got it, or do you think it's more just, hey, this is just people that happen, this is your
Well, I think it was Prot Warriors.
what do you mean?
If you play a Prot Warrior, I think you just got it for logging in.
Oh, well, okay. Bro, you're thinking way too literal. No,
I know too. I'm just messing with you. I think it was people who took it serious, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it was just like, oh, these people happened to log in that time window, and because they happened to be free, they got it, right?
Sure.
We're talking about people who made sacrifice for that.
Yeah.
People who said,
like, oh yeah, yes, right? I agree.
People said, I really want to win that. Was that boss tested, by the way, on beta or PTR? I guess beta or alpha.
I don't think so. No.
Right? I don't know.
I don't think they do dells. I don't think they do those dells.
I don't think they do the
PTR.
bosses, right? I think they try to keep the boss a little bit of a secret.
Yeah, I think it's just like, hey, you can check out a few delves if you really want to, and everyone's probably like, eh.
Yeah. Well, they check out the delves. I think they keep the bosses, the delve bosses.
Yeah.
Secret. So, anyways,
yeah, sure.
Anyways,
sure.
though, my point being, though, right? Like we're talking, like the people who are going for that achievement, right? They're waking up, getting up. They're available to start going the moment the servers are up, right? Like they're pushing hard. They're going over and over. And sure, like some people just got lucky and they got it. I know some people in our guild who were trying for it. I don't think they got it, but I think they were trying for it. But they're pushing. They're pushing hard, right? And again, like we talked about the raid race to world first that's currently going on, right? And these guys are all like, they're all out in there with whatever facility it is, right? With all their computers set up there, and you have Maximum, calling all the shots for everything. I think last year, I don't know if they do this year. Last year they had like a private chef even on hand to like cook all their meals. You know, like
dude, that's nuts.
It's crazy, right? Like it's crazy, but at the same time, you kind of want that same level of crazy for this delve boss. Now, I think maybe the delve boss should have been a little bit harder, right? I think they maybe made it a little too easy. And so that might have been a bit of the problem there too, that it just felt like it went too fast, where they wanted to feel like there was a little bit of a challenge to it, and maybe that challenge felt lacking. But again, I have no problem. I have no problem with achievements going to players who are seriously going way above and beyond anything I would find value in putting that time into, right? Like I think that's fair, dude. I think it's totally fair that if Timmy wants to wake up bright and early, get his caffeine in, and then like log in the moment servers are back up, and just spend the next 8 hours nonstop trying to kill this delve boss that he has like grinded out the last like week, just to know which delves he can complete the fastest, so he can get up to a tier 11 before anyone else can get to a tier 11, and then get in there and just start slamming. Cool, awesome.
Yeah,
right. Like
that's his prerogative, right?
Right. And sure, right. Like I might upset some people, right? But sure, you probably have a good handful of people on that list who don't have a job, right? Maybe for some of them they're just kind of in between. Maybe they're in between jobs, and for some of them they probably should have a job and just aren't getting one.
Maybe they just had a baby and they're on paternity leave.
Maybe I'm on paternity leave, right? Nah, because you'd be way too busy for that, dude. You'd be too dang busy for that.
Dude, I wasn't that busy to get that free in Gmod.
That's true.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's a little bit different.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Point being, though, right? Like, yeah, sure, you can come up with whatever reason why it's unfair that someone else has something. But I think, again, I kind of said it last time, too, but I just, I want to say again, like, there's something where, like, it's okay to look at somebody who put in, like, that time and effort into something. You're like, wow, that's awesome they got it. It's something I would have liked to have attempted, but also... it goes back to a conversation, I had with somebody one time where I was so jealous. I've mentioned on podcast in the past, but I was jealous of the things that they had achieved and the skill level that they had and stuff. But then when I learned the mindset and the commitment they had to make to achieve that, I was like, oh no, actually not at all. Like I stopped being jealous. Like in the moment, I was like, oh, I just realized that what you have is not at all what I want. Because I only see one side of the coin. I don't see the other side of the coin.
Yeah, exactly. No. And, it's like the same thing that I make fun of you. Like, bro, this guy uses vacation to sit at home and play WoW. And I'm bro.
Heck yeah,
this guy.
But what else am I going to
Well,
use
you didn't
vacation
this
for?
year, but
No, I almost did.
typically.
I almost did. So the
Oh wait,
plan.
actually, you said you weren't sure.
So the plan was to take vacation this week, right? So I wanted to take it the first week of Keys, and I was literally in the app putting my requests in for vacation days, and then realized that I had a big thing that was going on at work this week that I was actually very excited about and very involved with. And so I
Yeah.
could have still taken that time off, but it wouldn't have looked great. And it would have caused me a lot of extra stress otherwise. And so I was like, okay, I don't want that stress. I just end up going into work a couple hours early so I could leave a couple hours early and get home and play every day. But
Makes sense to me.
yeah. That's the true story. So anyways, chicken. We've kind of rambled. We talked about a few things, Race the World First related, tanking related, and we got plenty more to talk about on the podcast. But I just want to know, dude, what have you been up to in WoW this week?
Oof. Yeah. So I'll be honest. It's one of those things where, I just didn't get a lot of time this week. We're recording this a little bit early because I'm going to be out of town over the weekend. And, that happens. But, dude, I'll tell you the one thing that I did get. And it's that feeling of coming home from work on Tuesday. You kiss your wife, you kiss your kids.
Don't do that.
And you go down to your basement, you turn on your computer, you get your lotion, you get your tissues, because you got to cry because you didn't get tier from the vault. No, dude, good vault opening, dude. Just gets your blood pumping. You know what I mean?
Dude, I absolutely understand. Bro, tier is, have you seen the tier changes for this season?
Yeah, a little bit.
The main concept is that like once you get your 4 tier pieces, that's when you start getting the catalyst charges.
Yes,
which is kind of interesting.
I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
I think it's cool because basically the mindset behind that, what I would assume the mindset is that Blizzard had, was like, hey, we want you to think of tier as like once you've obtained it, you've obtained it. It's there. It will always be there, right? Yeah. So the idea being like, hey, like it's almost like tier itself, and we could see this change in the future, by the way. We could see this become what I'm talking about now. But it's almost like tier itself is a modification of armor rather than a piece of armor itself. And so once you get that modification, then you can apply that to more and more. So the idea is once you have all 4 pieces or all 4 of the set bonus, then you'll just start getting them from all sorts of content. You'll start getting catalyst charges, which is really awesome. Like I have I have a set of hero shoulders in my bag, and then I have I think a champion or veteran, whichever one's higher, pair of tier shoulders as well, right? And so I'm kind of holding on to the tier shoulders. I'm wearing the hero ones right now because I don't have any other piece of tier. And then once I get another piece of tier, then the champion ones will go on. And then once I get my whole tier set, then the champion ones will come back off. The hero shoulders will go back on, and then I'll convert them to tier pretty quick. It's an interesting system, but I think it's an improvement over what they did before. And also what I didn't like with what they did before, tier kind of became this like, oh, hey, you're guaranteed to get one of these the first week, so here's your guaranteed piece of gear. That felt weird. It felt weird to just be like, here's your guaranteed piece of, right? So
it's more bad luck protection, basically.
Yeah, and now what it is it's like, oh, hey, you want tier and you don't really want to raid, just go slam LFR a bunch, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. Right? Like
what? I'm sorry?
Just go slam some LFR, right? Like just whatever it takes to just knock it out. Get it done. Get it done fast and move on. But yeah, so I don't have a lot of tier right now. I just have 1 piece. One of our guildmates has his 4 piece already. I don't even know how. I don't know how, but he says he's like swimming in those catalyst charges. So yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, apparently works out.
Dude,
it's J-Rob though, just so you know.
Oh, dude, that guy plays all the time. He probably paid for him.
He has kids and still could get the Delve World First. So whatever he's doing.
I don't know, man. Paying for it. Anyways, yeah, I didn't get to play too much this week.
That makes sense.
It's just one of those weeks, so hopefully I have enough time to like grind out some delves or something so I can get like a few vault slots.
Dude, we can run keys, bro. Dude, I've been slamming keys. Run keys with me.
Yeah, I just don't have any time. I'm basically gonna be away all weekend.
That's true.
And yeah, I'm back on the grind next week, so it is what it is. But
Is what it is.
It's okay.
Dude, yeah. No, I get that. I get that. Well, hopefully when things start to slow down, you're able to get in. Because I really have enjoyed this season. And I think the dungeon pool, Loki, it's good. It's a good dungeon pool.
That's
I'm having a
good.
blast in dungeons.
Yeah. And dude, yeah, apparently you already got KSM, which is kind of nutty.
Yeah, I got it today. Wasn't too. I mean,
Yeah,
it's only like 2K rating that you need. And right now, dungeons don't feel that bad. Dungeons actually, if anything, dungeons maybe feel a little too easy.
Interesting.
The highest I've run is a 9. I have an 11 in my bag, and I'll probably attempt that 11 tomorrow. I was nervous about it because some things were already hitting me kind of hard, so I wanted to try and get a little bit more eye level, a little bit more boost before I went into that 11.
Yeah.
And it was like the one dungeon I haven't stepped foot in yet, so I was like, okay, let me practice. Yeah. It's Sea of the Triumvirate, which I heard is not always the most pleasant. So we'll see. It seems like a fun dungeon. I enjoy the mechanics. There's a couple mechanics in there I didn't totally understand. Honestly, though, with the somewhat semi-easier M+ kind of start this season, I have been just kind of going in blind into some of these dungeons, which has really been fun. Which is actually like, and I know people are always like, oh yeah, that's how you have to do it. Like, don't just read guides all the time. But here's the thing: historically, reading the guide or watching the video would be important, right? Like, you want to do that. However, for the level at which I play and at how slow I'm pushing, like the dungeons are kind of just, they're different. It's almost like Blizzard built these dungeons with newer players in mind.
Sure.
Or a safer progression, I guess, in mind. I've heard it said
the lack of add-ons, maybe
a little bit of the lack of add-ons. I've heard it said too, though, that there's a lot of players who cap out at heroic dungeons. Like, they'll do heroic dungeons, but they won't go higher than heroic dungeons because things feel too toxic. And
it's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I could never, dude. I couldn't. If that's you, by the way, and you're listening to the podcast and you're like, oh, all I ever do is heroic dungeons. Power to you. I couldn't. I'm sorry. Do what's fun for you. Don't do what's fun for me. But I cannot do heroic forever. And what I find though with the dungeons right now, and what's really cool with them, is that there's a few things happening. One of which, you have the labeling on the dungeon group finder stuff, right? So like when you're trying to find a group or a key that you want to run, you have that competitive, relaxed, learner. I think there's even like a carry label, carry offered or something in there. I'm not entirely sure what the carry offered one is supposed to be. Maybe that's for sales. I don't know. I couldn't quite figure that one out. But I've honestly just been kind of grabbing ones that are labeled as learner, because as relaxed. Because to me, I'm just like, yeah, that's the group I want to run with, right? Like,
yeah,
I want to run with the relaxed group. They seem fun. They seem chill. Maybe I'll change my mind at some point when I get a little bit higher in keys and people really want to time them and it's pushed to competitive. And that's totally fine too. But the nice thing is, you know what you're getting into when you join that dungeon. You're like, okay, I know the mood of this dungeon. I know what the people are expecting who all signed up for this key. And so, one, they're labeling things to kind of make it a little bit less intimidating of what you could expect in your group. Two, again, I think the dungeons are a little bit easier, right? And so that ramp from heroic into M0 into +2 doesn't feel so big. It feels like a very slow ramp, and that can help a lot, right? Because you're not like all of a sudden just absolutely overwhelmed with everything that's happening. The third thing that they're doing is the tank route, and I wanted to bring that up because I've been doing that all week. So in M+, they now have that affix. I believe it goes through 6. I think it's +2 through 6. It's active. Maybe 2 through 5. I haven't done a 6, so I've done 5s, and I've done 7s, and I know it's not on a 7, and I know it's on a 5. So somewhere in there that affix drops out, but I think it goes up to 6 and then drops out of 7. Either way, though, the affix basically just highlights mobs that you should kill, and if you kill all the highlighted mobs, you will have the correct percentage to complete that dungeon. And it's really nice because that kind of inherently shows you the route, right? It inherently shows you the route that you should take, or a route you can take. And the mobs that are highlighted are a little bit easier to kill, right? So it actually weakens those mobs a tiny bit. So it incentivizes your groups to do that, right? So you're not also going to end up in a +4 with some Vengeance Demon Hunter who wants to run the mega meta route for +27s, even though he's never tanked a key before in his life. Because again, the best way to complete that dungeon is to go the route that they highlight, because those mobs will die faster.
Yeah, and that's kind of an interesting concept. I didn't realize it was that.
Yeah,
it did that.
Yep. And so I think those moves that Blizzard made really make M+ a little bit less intimidating. So if you're listening to podcasts and you're like, oh, I tried one time, it was a terrible experience, or I've never tried, I've just been too nervous to do it. Right now is a great time, especially like this early into the expansion when people are still all kind of learning a little bit. Right now is such a good time to just get in there, try a +2 out, try an M0, and then if the M0 goes well, you'll get a key, or go join someone else's +2. You can even skip M0 if you want. If you're like, oh, my gear's already like 240 eye level or higher, then skip M0. And my eye level is actually pretty low. I think it's like 245. But again, right, my eye level is like 245, maybe 243. I don't know. I have to take a look. I think 245. And I'm +2ing 9s, right? So, yeah, the ramp feels very gradual, which is nice.
So, for your keys, have you been listing them as relaxed? I'm just curious. I'm assuming you have.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm listing them as relaxed, but I'm still grabbing, whoever has the highest eye level.
Oh yeah, I kind of figured.
Yeah.
I mean,
I want pumpers. I just don't want pumpers who are going to yell at me.
Yeah, but that's like just, I feel like natural like instincts of just like, oh yeah, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like that's one of those things where it's just like, I'm gonna choose who I think is best anyways, regardless if like no offense, like doesn't matter if I'm playing like the NBA All-Stars or the 6th grade team, like I want LeBron James on my team, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Sorry,
right?
Sports reference. I'll never make it again.
No, but you are totally right. Like when you are picking your team, if you have the option, right? There's two things you do, right? Like if you're in gym class, right? And you're picking your team, you're either picking that cute girl you want to be standing next to during the game, or you're picking the dude who's going to ensure that you win the game, right? But you're not picking the guy who isn't going to get you the win. And
I'm picking the nerd, which was me.
Which is you. But to be fair too, like, and for people who are like, oh, but that's not fair. I still want to do stuff. That's fine. But that it means, hey, maybe go to keys that are a little bit lower than the key that you want to be in. Build your rating up, right? Build that confidence. Build some community too as well, because that helps a ton. And then get back out there, and you'll see that change.
Life advice. And WoW advice.
WoW and life advice right here. Anyways, so I've done that. I've been raiding this week as well, and raid has been really fun. We completed all the bosses on normal that are available right now, which so we cleared them out all this week, which was a
kind of crazy.
It was a good time. We went to one boss on heroic and realized that was kind of a mistake. And
realized that would.
Dude, I don't know what it is, man. I've done heroic bosses before. Maybe we were supposed to go to Chimeras first. Maybe he's supposed to be like the first boss. That might have been our mistake. He might be like the first boss, and we went to Void Spire and did Void Spire. But it was fun. We had fun. We just had a little bit of a DPS check, I think, that was going on, and so next week we should have it. But I don't even know if next week we're going to do it, because next week we'll probably re-clear normal again. We want to try and get people their tier sets, right? So we'll probably re-clear normal.
Yeah.
And then we have those 2 new bosses, and I'm assuming the 2 new bosses are going to be the hardest of them all. So we'll probably then end up spending our second day just working on them. It would have been nice to have maybe worked on them this week. You know, when we had that extra time, when we couldn't do anything else.
So weird.
It would have been nice. Blizzard, I get that you're doing a storytelling thing, but it wasn't my favorite way to do it. Whatever.
No one wants it. Just kidding.
Yeah, I wouldn't be that harsh. I wouldn't have been that harsh, but yeah.
So yeah, someone might like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then I got my my shaman up. I got my shaman up to level 90 as well, a little bit extra time. So
That's good.
I did that today real fast, and yeah, so I'm happy to have
real fast.
Yeah. Well, I want to have them leveled up because I like the idea of being a little bit more flexible than only being able to tank. Especially like because our guild does like the weekly keys event. Sometimes it's nice for me to hop into like a lower key group or something with an alt, just to have things like that are available.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you already have KSM too, which is kind of crazy. What do you think of the mount? Do you like it?
I haven't even
used
rocking
it.
The mount? I haven't even used it. I haven't even looked at it.
What?
Didn't even look at it.
What do you mean?
I got the mount while I was streaming. And then I forgot because I was chatting. Because my chat on Twitch is the best, and they're awesome.
Oh my gosh.
And they're so cool. And I just got distracted, and I totally forgot about the mount until earlier today. My wife was asking me what the point of getting KSM even is. She's like, "Do you get the core?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Do you get the core
honestly,
for it?"
That's
and
a good question. I don't know if there is a point of getting KSM anymore.
It feels cool. It feels cool that like those achievements feel good, right? And I don't know. I would have been proud of myself for a week 1 KSM in the past. I just don't know. Like I don't know why, dude. It didn't.
Is this your first ever week 1 KSM?
Maybe I got it before. Maybe I got it during the War Within. Honestly, I probably got it within the War Within as well.
I feel like you. Yeah, I feel like you did.
But we're also recording this Friday, right? So this is like
Dude, yeah, this is like, bro.
Pre-weekend. I didn't play Thursday. Oh, I raided Thursday, but I didn't do any dungeons on Thursday because of work. Right. So, and I did work, Tuesday, Wednesday. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was fun. I mean, I haven't really been slamming a ton of keys. I've maybe done 11. I think I've done like 11 or 12 keys. So nothing crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You got KSM and 11 or 12 keys.
Yeah, but I don't always evenly push up my keys, right? I just see how high I can push and then just kind of live there. Right.
And then once you feel comfortable, yeah, you just kind of jump in some.
So I pushed up to a 9, and I was like, okay, well, I know I did a 9 on 1 key, and we plus 2'd it, but I had like friends with me that I enjoy gaming with. But for these others on the pug, let me just go do some 7s and knock out some 7s real fast.
And then next thing you know, here you are with KSM.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's all that. Chicken, let's get into like the juicy stuff though, dude. What's going on in World of Warcraft?
Not a lot outside of Race to World first. and that, there's not too much going on. The only thing I will say is they pulled the cap out for the delves thing. So the tier 11 delves give you the 20 hero crests and the 20 mythic crest.
Yeah.
So I think that is different from the War Within. I can't remember how many they gave us in the War Within, but I think it's different.
Oh.
And they also
you have to get to like to like rank 4 or whatever, right? In the delve journey.
Oh, you do. You're right. Yes.
I only know that because someone on Twitch told me that, and I didn't know what it meant, and then someone else had to explain to me what that meant. That's the kicker behind
it. Yes. You can't just do it from the back. Yes. Sorry, I was like reading this article and I'm like, I'm confused. Like, I don't understand what this is, but I just got that. Yes.
Yep.
You can't do it until you get like rank. Yeah. And then and the prey system is kind of the same way with the nightmare prey of getting the heroic crest, which I think is pretty. Getting a heroic crest for just doing the prey is kind of nutty.
That's a great reward. Yeah. That is a very solid reward. I have no problem with that. I don't mind the upgrade currencies coming from, less important things. I just think the gear itself, you want the sources of that gear to be equivalent across the board, right? So like if mythic gear in raiding only drops from mythic raid, then like all other sources of mythic gear should probably be whatever's equivalent to the first few bosses in mythic raid.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Right. That to me feels like the baseline, like whatever that means. So if you're like, oh, I want delves to have mythic gear, okay, well, how do you get delve to a difficulty where it feels in line with the first few bosses of mythic raid, right? How do you get prey in line with the first few bosses of mythic raid, right? If you're like, dude, world quest should give mythic gear. Okay, well, how do you get? Now, the problem with mythic gear though is once you get it from too many sources, then you feel obligated to farm all of that, and that maybe can get a little annoying. So, with that said, though, yes, I don't know where I'm going with this. Back to you, Chicken.
Yeah, to be honest, there's not a whole lot of other news that's going on right now. Race to World First is obviously still big. We'll see what kind of goes on there. The Twitch pet, we talked about that last week. If you haven't been watching Twitch, your favorite Twitch streamer, either, Swaglock, my boy Swag streaming, or obviously all the Race to World First stuff should have the Twitch drop on it.
Yep.
Again, decor, dude. Come on. You can't get enough decor.
Dude, we also have more we have more tuning this week as well.
Oh yeah. There's more tuning for the 31st. This one isn't as crazy as the last one though. This one's just a couple things. Looks like Shadow Priest is getting some big changes. Other than that, just some minor tweaks, some big PvP stuff actually, which is kind of interesting. We don't talk much about PvP, but yeah, just some minor changes.
Dude, tuning though the other week was wild, and I heard they like mostly reverted the Unholy DK tuning. Have you felt any of that? I don't know if you've played with Unholy a little bit since then.
I have not played Unholy much outside of leveling.
Okay.
Yeah, once you get into delves and stuff, it's like it's so much easier to just slap stick delves with blood DK.
Perfect. Well, here's the thing.
So I was like,
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Once, Chicken, once in a while, we end up with like a week with this where there's not a lot of WoW news, despite a lot happening in WoW. There's plenty to do in game. There's not a ton of like updates or news at the moment. But what we do have is an abundance of listener questions. So we're going to jump to those.
Actually.
Yeah, we're going to jump to those. And we're just going to see how many we can get through. If we can't get through all of them, we will just save those for the next episode. So if you asked a question and we did not answer your question, just know we will. We will answer your question.
Hate you.
Yes, yeah. So Chicken will mark off each question we answer on the notes, so that way we'll know next week which one to come back to.
Yeah.
However, before we get to our questions, I just want to remind you all of a few things that are important to know. Number one, our Patreon is what supports this podcast. It pays for our hosting space as well as some things that Chicken and I are working on behind the scenes that we want to do to just continue to improve and increase the reach of the podcast and also the experience of those listening to the podcast. If you could check out our Patreon, that would be incredible. Chicken and I have also been trying to do live recordings with our guests when we have guest episodes. So if you ever want to kind of join and listen in on those and even ask questions live on guest episodes, we offer that to our Patreon listeners, as well as our Patreon listeners get first dibs on questions. Now,
that's true.
The other thing I want to talk about is our guild, Astra. If you are looking for a guild to be a part of, a community, a non-toxic guild, this is the guild for you. This is the guild for you. I'm telling you right now. You don't even have to look any further. Stop looking. Get out of those guild search discords. Stop browsing Google. Stop asking ChatGPT which guild you should join in WoW. It's over. You found it. It's Astra on the Stormrage servers. And if you're wondering, because we have had this question before from a few people, guilds are now cross-server and cross-faction. So long as you are on NA servers, North American servers, or have access to play with North American servers, you can join our guild. That's all it takes. You'll see a link to the podcast Discord down below. When you pop in there, you'll see a channel called Join Astra, and just follow the instructions in there to learn more. That guild is a guild Chick and I are a part of, and we love, and we want to invite you to. It's not a guild, though, for the podcast. It just happens to be a guild that the podcast hosts are a part of. That's correct, other than the fact that we're there. That's the affiliation. Although there are quite a few podcast listeners in the guild, so every once in a while there'll be some conversations about it. But and the last thing, while we're talking about, because we don't bring up as much anymore, but we do have a neighborhood for the podcast, a Horde side neighborhood, and we want to encourage you to be a part of that. If you want to hang out with other podcast listeners, plant your house down, decorate it. Sometimes I'll sneak through and take a look at people's houses and see how they look and whatnot. We even have some past guests from the podcast who have placed houses in there as well. And we take care of our endeavor. We actually do the endeavor. So it's a good place to be if you're interested in that as well. Jump in our Discord, and there's a join neighborhood channel, and just follow the directions there. But with that said, we're getting to listener questions, and of course, we are going to start with our Patreon questions. Because we do prioritize that. Specifically, though, Rack did ask me today to not prioritize his question, but too bad. He supports us on Patreon.
My gosh.
He's coming first, no matter what he asks. But don't worry, Rack. We will get to everybody's questions. It will happen. All right. Question from Rack. And he says, from both a lore/storytelling perspective as well as gameplay loop perspective, do you think World of Warcraft was better off when the Alliance and Horde were at war with each other? And secondarily, on top of that question, he says, if it was to come back, do you think it should come at the cost of players having to truly pick a side in the war again and having players lose that cross-faction grouping and guilds and all the other stuff that goes on? So, Chicken, I don't know if this is a topic that you are particularly super interested in, just because that wasn't the WoW that you had played, right? The WoW you came into was already I think you came in maybe 6 months before cross-faction stuff started with guilds.
Yeah, even in Shadowlands, it wasn't a huge thing.
Yeah,
from what I remember.
But is that something you look at and would like to have back or no?
Yeah, for me, I feel like the second part of the question is definitely that's hard because I don't disagree that that's how the game was played at one point, but it's weird to think that you'd almost be making people get or make choices hey, I got to go back to doing things a certain way because I'm I'm so used to this, but at the same time I don't necessarily hate it.
Yeah So
I think I mean for storyline purposes I think it makes sense. It to me I think it's one of those things it's like in Pokemon, right? And again, our go-to reference is Fortnite, but for some reason this one I chose Pokemon. It's like Pokemon, your goal is always to become the very best, no one ever was, right?
Yes,
but then you also have these people that are doing bad Pokemon things, and you're well, I gotta kill them. Not really. I gotta have my pets kill their pets. But it's not it's your side quest, right? I don't know. The faction war almost seems like a cool side quest that they were just never mind, we're not going to make this side quest anymore. You know what I mean? I don't know. It came secondary point of the game. They're never mind. This is
Yeah. So
I think,
I have thoughts. I think that this is a case of you can have your cake and eat it too, right? Right. And so my argument would be that I think you can have the faction war back and also not lose cross-faction gameplay. I think cross-faction gameplay worked really, really well when WoW was launching and you wanted people to have a strong identity in the game, right? It was also really cool because it came off the heels of Warcraft 3 and, Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 1, but especially Warcraft 3, and there's all this hype around the heroes of the Alliance, but then you also saw Thrall, and Thrall's actually kind of doing some cool stuff with the orcs, even though the orcs had historically been the bad guys. So World of Warcraft comes out, and what makes World of Warcraft really cool is that you could play as the good guys or the bad guys. Like, you could be the bad guys if you wanted to be the bad guys, right? And now I know people are listening,
Oh,
and they're like, well, the Horde aren't the bad guys, they're just misunderstood. I get it. At that time, though, the Horde were the bad guys. Now, were they doing some good things? Yes. But they had done one good thing after, like, years and years and years of doing terrible things. So,
Oh, yeah.
right, and even the undead were like a nod to that. Even though these undead had broken off from the Forsaken, or off from the Scourge, right? They were still a nod to the Scourge being the villains. So you kind of come in and it's like, wow, you can play as the villains, you can play. But what I think was really cool about the faction conflict was it created that identity, right, for the Horde, for the Alliance, right? I remember my earliest memories, like in WoW. I'm leveling. It was with my friend. It was a neighbor named Charlie, right? So I had this neighbor. He's passed since. He had a drug overdose years ago.
Oh, no.
Yeah, years ago. But I was in high school. I was in 9th grade. He was in 12th grade. No, I would have been in 8th grade. I was in 8th grade. He was in 11th grade. But we were neighbors, and so he came over. I just moved into the neighborhood. I was like a really new kid. I was going into 8th grade. I remember now, and he was so. And I just thought Charlie was the coolest dude. I thought Charlie was the coolest dude, right? And he was so nice, super friendly. And he got me into World of Warcraft, right? I can only make like trial accounts at the time, so I kept making over and over again these trial undead warlocks. That was my go-to. But the first time I made a character, he made one with me, or I think he just met me. I think he was having a blood elf. It was probably level, like, because he had also just kind of recently gotten in, so maybe like level 30 or 35, right? And so he comes and he meets me in Silverpine Forest while I'm leveling through. I remember I was killing Worgen. I'm trying to put the picture there. I'm in Silverpine. I'm killing Worgen. And all of a sudden, Charlie just goes, hide, hide, hide. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? What's happening? And I like run to go like hide in like a bush with him. He's like sitting in a bush, so I run out, hide in the bush. And past us is a night elf on a one of the Night Saber mounts, right? And it's just running by. And I was like, why were you hiding? And he's like, that was an Alliance player. That was an Alliance player. And we played on like a PvP server, so like you could just like attack each other out in the blue, out in the wild. And so I have that fond memory of like, oh, that's a player on the other side, right? And it just suddenly made the world bigger. Because up to that point, all I cared about was Silverpine Forest, right? All I cared about was just killing these Worgen in the woods, killing some bears with them. And now all of a sudden, the world is a little bit bigger. And I have to think about these Night Elf characters who are from a whole different continent, but sometimes they come hang out here too and they could kill me. It was just cool. It was cool. It added a lot of identity. It added a lot of storytelling. I think oftentimes the story of WoW is best when it feels more grounded, and the faction conflicts always feel more grounded. Like, dude, I kind of don't love that every battle we're doing now is a battle against the cosmos, right? Like every threat we're facing is like the jailer, Xalatath trying to bring void destruction to the universe, right? Demencius, right? Like everything we fight is this just like unrealistic, huge, giant, like cosmic character. And I kind of wouldn't hate to just go back to a semi-simpler time, not totally simple, but simpler time where a lot of the conflict is the faction conflict. And I don't think the faction conflict has to be super forced either. Like, I don't think it has to be like, well, technically, the leader of the Horde is being tricked by the jailer, and so they're burning down. They're committing genocide of the Night Elves, right? Like, it doesn't have to be that, right? Like, it can be as simple as, like, let's say Bane's... first of all, you need strong leaders, right? So let's say Bane's war chief again, right? And Bane is a generally diplomatic guy, right? Now, you could go something more aggressive than Bane, right? Like, that'd be fine, too. Maybe that'd be better storytelling, right? Having one side be a little more aggressive than the other side. But even so, having a story where it's like, hey, look, we know the Night Elves don't like it when we go into these woods and start cutting down trees, but we need those trees. And if we don't cut those trees down, our people are going to start dying. And we would rather cut down Night Elves than watch our own people die, right? Like, That's
Yeah,
good, right? That's the
right.
good storytelling, right? Like we would rather kill night elves trying to defend these trees than watch our little baby orcs and taurens die because they don't have what they need to live, right? That to
Mm-hmm.
me is much better storytelling than just like fake conflict. I also really miss in old expansions. BFA was the last time they did this. BFA, they went extra hard on it. I don't think they have to go this hard on it. They did not do it in Legion. They did it a bit in WoD. So maybe WoD was the last time they truly did this. But I wouldn't mind more storytelling in the leveling experience that was unique for each faction. What I used to love too was like when you first entered into an expansion, you were very faction centric, right? So like your earliest quests were all heavily faction dependent, and then as you explored more and more into the continent, more and more into the land, your faction couldn't come with you as much, and you kind of became more independent, and you were then helping the different groups that you found along the way. And the other faction was also helping those groups, right? So there's more commingling there. I think that was really cool, right? I think overall faction conflict builds a lot for the game. I think it builds a little bit of pride too in your character and who you're playing, and it's a really awesome and super cool world building tool. Like it is a world, and a world does not exist without conflict. It just doesn't, right? So like the natural healthy conflict is good. The conflict of like, hey, we need these resources. We want these resources. We want our people to be doing well. Not this weird conflict of like, we just want to kill you because we want to kill you, right? That, I don't know. That doesn't work well. You get to play the garage story once or twice, but then it becomes too boring. Yeah, so I want healthy conflict. With that said, though, and I know I've been on this topic for a lot because I remember seeing Rack post this question. I was like, oh, I love this question. I love this question. So I'm all for more faction conflict, 100%. Once the last Titan is done, can we please just? I don't want to sound like cliche. Put the war back in Warcraft. Like keep the housing, like keep all the housing stuff. Keep the cool trading post things. My wife loves those transmogs. I even use a bunch of those transmogs. Right? I like the cool mounts.
Gosh.
I like all this stuff. Keep all of it, but also let me go kill some horde. Right? Like let me go cut down some orcs simply because they're on the other side. Right? However, I also really love this idea that as a character, my character is a part of the Alliance and can be called upon by the Alliance when needed, but at the same time is also a part of a guild, and that guild is a group of other similar heroes like myself who are banding together to take on most problems, but at times can get called away to their factions, and even at times have to fight each other on behalf of their factions, right? I think there's even storytelling, even if Blizzard wants to ignore it. Blizzard could just ignore it and be like, look, the storytelling and then sometimes the mechanics of gameplay just can't line up, right? Right. Again, they don't want to create a game where your friend is playing the game and you're playing the game, but you guys can never actually play the game together. That's right. That's just not
fair point.
Where WoW is now, or where I think it should ever go back to. But I think you can have faction conflict and also have cross-faction play. I think those two things can exist simultaneously.
No, I agree. Yeah.
I don't think, though, you'll ever go back to the day where, like, you can now no longer in any conceivable way communicate with people on the other faction. And can't cross, right? Like, because I don't know if you know that, dude. Back in the day, you couldn't even, like, whisper somebody on the other faction.
Oh, really? Wow.
No.
That's kind of
it would jumble the text.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's where Keck comes from.
Dedication.
Yeah. So anyways, that's the answer to Rack's question. Chicken, are you in-game right now? Oftentimes when we record, you are in-game.
Yes, what do you need?
All right, pull up your map. Pull up the map of Azeroth, and then look at the Eastern Kingdoms. Because the next question is from Sovi, and he wants to know, which zone of Eastern Kingdoms would you like to live in if you could?
The snow one. I always forget what it's called.
Dunmorrow.
I think that's
where the dwarves are. Where the dwarves are?
Yes.
Yeah, dude, that's a very cool one.
Yeah.
That's
Where
a
Iron Forge is? Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, that one. Yep.
Dude,
Or
that's not a bad
Nomergon
option.
is.
That's not a bad option. Dude, mine is probably such a cliche, dude. Mine, and listen, it's not because we're here now. I would have answered this if this question was asked like 3 years ago. Eversong Woods, bro, is a beautiful zone.
Oh my gosh.
Eversong's gorgeous. Dude, Eversong is gorgeous. Eversong. I would have said this 3 years ago if you asked me. Like, Eversong's cool. If it wasn't Eversong though, if I couldn't live in Eversong, Elwyn is quaint and seems peaceful. As much as I want to say Booty Bay, I feel like my life would be at risk like every day. Like the moment you step out of Booty Bay, you got like dinosaurs walking around, like raptors and stuff trying to hunt you down. I don't know if that's really where I want to be. But yeah, when it comes to Eastern Kingdoms, probably like Elwyn, or the other problem too is I think too much about lore sometimes, right? Like I'm like, oh, Silverpine would be cool. And I'm like, but do I want like rabid bears and Worgen running around all the time? And half the people I run into are ghosts, right? But
true.
There's some cool spots. But Eversong Woods is so beautiful. I always love Eversong Woods, especially now that the scar is gone. It looks so much better.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Whenever that. Oh, so there used to be a thing called the Dead Scar running through Eversong Woods, but that's not a thing anymore, so you're safe. All right, next question coming in from Bacon Wings. And Bacon Wings wants to know, should there be delve portals like there are +10, like portals for doing +10 dungeons? And if there are, what should you accomplish in order to unlock them?
Oof. This is okay. So I actually put a lot of thought into this. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready? Yeah, you're ready. So here's my thought, and you got to know a lot of WoW information to understand this. So I think if you are able to do the the delve, like what is the delve achievement? Oh my goodness. Glory of the Delver, is that it?
Yeah.
It's like the delve lore master, basically. Like if you do all the delves thing.
Okay.
And then maybe like a couple other things, right? Because even the delve lore master is kind of easy. I think it should give you a trinket.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah, I said yeah.
That works like the engineering wormhole generator, that you can choose one specific delves that you want to go to, but then that goes on like the 8-hour cooldown. Like I don't think you should get a specific portal for each delves. Like that's a bit much, but I think you should have the ability to transport to a delve for, I don't know, like every 2 hours.
Yeah. I'm
and
mixed.
That's like trapped behind like the lore master achievement, because like really I'm like, I don't know what else to put it behind. Maybe doing tier 11 on all the delves, but then I mean you're basically doing that if you get the lore master, kind of, in a way. Maybe they add that to the lore master as something to do. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, I'm mixed on this one, and I thought about it when the question was asked, and I still haven't landed. And I'll explain why I haven't landed. There's part of me that's like, yeah, cool, give them portals, awesome. Right? Like, awesome, cool. But then there's also part of me that, again, when you have similar rewards, you want them to be from similar challenges, right? Like, you want the challenge to be kind of the same, right? Unless one of them is supposed to appear more prestigious. But that would be like mounts, right? That'd be something visible that you could stand on in a city for everybody to see, right? Like, if it's like, oh, sure, here you can get a green horse, but here you get a purple horse. They both use the same model, but one's green and one's purple. But the green one is a lot harder to get. Well, all of a sudden, now when you see someone standing around with their green horse, you're like, wow, that's much cooler than the purple one, right? Like, it doesn't matter if the purple one actually looks cooler. You just know the green one was harder to get. So that's now all of a sudden the cooler mount, because you associate time, energy, skill, challenge with that. So, but I don't think portals do that, right? Like, portals don't do that, right? Because no one's seeing. We call them portals, but they're not portals. They're teleports, right? So for those who don't know or are confused by this conversation, when you time,
Well, they are teleports. We do call them portals.
yeah, when you time a +10 dungeon, you can then get what's called a teleport to that dungeon, or we call them portals oftentimes, but it allows you to teleport to that dungeon. All dungeon teleports share the same cooldown. So once you use one teleport, all of them then have an 8-hour cooldown attached to them, and then that 8-hour cooldown is cleared away as soon as you complete another Mythic Plus key. So that's pretty convenient in that sense. Part of the reason too why the dungeon portals are such a good reward is because when you're queuing up for dungeons, there is kind of this sensitivity of time where other people are now waiting for you to get to that dungeon. And so feeling like you can more quickly and conveniently get to that dungeon and even start helping summon other people to the dungeon makes it feel like a really, really worthwhile reward for what you're doing. I'm not saying that as a way to say, well, that's why delves shouldn't have it. I'm just saying that as that's why it exists as a good reward for dungeons. So if we look at delves, there's part of me again that's just like, yeah, just whatever, give it to them. Cool, sounds awesome. Move on. But then there's also part of me it's like, okay, but I want rewards that are similar to feel like they have similar challenge behind them. And while +10 dungeons aren't anything super duper crazy right now, I promise you, I'm not even close to struggling half as much in delves as I do in a dungeon, right? In a 10. So, and I'm not really struggling, but even right now, my gear is just like a little bit lower. So, I guess that's the question, right? Like, is how do you make that equivalent? Chicken, you kind of hit the nail on the head a little bit too, where you were like, maybe we attach it to something like Lore Master. And that could be a cool Lore Master reward of like, hey, you got Lore Master, you can now teleport to one of the dungeons at will. I would also wonder too if, and I don't know if people are going to like this. What if the delve teleport was random? Like, what if it was like, hey, you can teleport to a delve and it only works once every hour, but it's a random delve. You don't get to pick which delve it is. It's just like a random delve from like that season that you won. That could be interesting. But then again, if you're like, oh, I need to go to northern Eastern Kingdoms and I have a 1 hour cooldown on this, I'll just use this as a hearth, right? So maybe not. Maybe that's a bad idea. Although
that's kind of how like the engineering wormhole generator kind of works. That's why I said like that might be a good one, because it sort of works like that, but like you can do like certain quests to allow you to like teleport to more specific locations.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I'm not super familiar with it, which is
that's why I'm like, yeah, you kind of got to be familiar with it for it to make more sense.
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
Anyway,
so I'm hit or miss on it. Bacon Wings, if they added it tomorrow, I wouldn't be like, this is an outrage, just whatever. I just feel like, and again, it's that overall question of, I think there should be a harder tier of delves than there are now, and that would justify more reward
tier
opportunity.
12.
Right? That would justify more reward opportunity than exists, right? And maybe that higher tier of delves isn't for everybody, and that's fine, right? Those dungeon portals shouldn't be available to everybody who likes dungeons, right? They should be available to everybody who likes dungeons and wants to put the work in to unlock the dungeon portals. And so maybe it is time maybe for them to add in some delves that are above an 11 that have strict timers in them, right? Have strict like death counts. Obviously they already kind of do, but have strict death counts in them. And that kind of forces you to say, hey, look, like it's kind of like almost like the M+ of a dungeon. You know, you got a timer, you got limited deaths, and now the cool thing with that though is you can just sit there and spam the same one over and over again, right? Can't really do that with
that's true,
unless you have like resilient keys, but that can get a little painful. So either way, actually, that's a question I think for our listeners. If you're still listening to this podcast, first question, why? Second question, leave a comment and wherever you can leave a comment. you want to leave it on Discord, you can. But if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, leave a comment for us and just let me know, like, if if delves were to be more difficult, how would you like them to be more difficult? Like, what would be the challenge if you are a delve enthusiast? What is the challenge that gets you like most excited to think about for harder delves?
Yeah.
Because I can brainstorm, but I can only think of challenges that I think would be fun for me and challenging for me as somebody who doesn't do delve. So I don't know if my opinion is really a great opinion, right?
Probably not.
I'm too outside of the system. All right, we're gonna get our last question in for the podcast. So we do have a question from Wargramps and a question from Tiger Ace Ray that we're gonna get to next week. So we'll hold on to your questions. But we have a question coming in from Moonfrey. And they said, expanding evergreen systems in WoW. So kind of talking about a lot of this idea of like, how do we make things that are more long lasting, right? So their question is, one of my favorite game experiences for vanilla were class-based quests. There was an epic paladin mount quest and an epic warlock mount quest that followed a quest chain and involved even needing a group to complete some steps. It was a great way to feel more immersed in one's class. This was beautifully done in the Legion expansion, and it feels like the abandonment of class order halls was a missed opportunity. Not only did it give reason to try other classes and experience those storylines, it also provided a cross-faction home that was just a great way to feel totally invested in the class itself. We recently got to visit the Paladin class order hall through Erator's Journey. Wouldn't you like to see the return of class order halls for every expansion moving forward? Thanks, and sorry for this question. Seems way longer than intended. So, Chicken, I'll let you talk because I think I could ramble too much again on this one. What do you think? Should we have more class-based things in the game, or keep most content universal?
That's a hard one because, like, like even to like relate it to like something like tier sets, right? When they had like the more generic tier sets, and I'm like, oh, like I kind of like, the tier sets to be like a little more,
Personal, yeah,
specific instead of just being, hey, like you get luck of the draw,
yeah.
I think things like that kind of simplify the game and they help, but I do like the specific things of that make like so I'm pretty plain when it comes to this game. Like everyone knows that. Well, if you don't know, like I'm not too big on lore, like anything.
Yeah.
But like being a Death Knight is kind of like the one thing I'm like, oh, I like being a Death Knight. Like that's like the one thing about like actual like character gameplay that I actually give a crap about, right?
Yeah.
Everything else, it's like, yeah, I could care less if like this, like gnome kind of, because like it's kind of on par with my like like my character background story, whatever.
Yeah.
But like everything else, I'm just like, yeah, I could care less about that if it has to do with story. So to have like separate things for classes again, like kind of like order hall stuff like that, I think it's neat. I don't know if I want it to be on the level of the order hall, maybe like specific enough to like, maybe like a single quest line that gives like a niche piece of like, I don't want to say artifact gear because that kind of is like the order hall, but like, kind of maybe like a niche quest line for each class that gives like a good piece of loot or something that's like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I think a few things. One, I think the first thing you have to do is make order halls unlocked for everybody without having to go back to Legion content, right? Because that's part of the reason.
That's fair.
Part of the reason why they don't want to use order halls right now is because if in order to do it, you have to then backtrack. So what they don't want to do is like mid-expansion backtrack, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
And I do understand like Blizzard really. Oh, dude, I had a topic I wanted to talk about today and I totally forgot. Next week, sorry, random tangent. Next week, make sure we talk about unless we talked about last week, but I don't think we did. Our mid expansion zones, like the end game zones that they had in, are those a problem? Because I feel like the end game zones move the story along too fast where things don't get to soak in. So just kind of mentally jot that in. Next week I want to talk about that kind of topic right now. Thinking about zones that are saturated through an expansion and not just like passed along so fast. With that said, though, back to the conversation at hand. I think that problem kind of mildly exists with like class order halls and things like that, where they create it for an expansion, but then as soon as that expansion's over, they need to move on to the next expansion and the experiences of that expansion, right? So they go to BFA and they're like, well, no, order halls was the thing of Legion. We don't need that in BFA. We have our own things in BFA, and all of a sudden now those order halls are cast to the side. And part of this, the evergreen content, is like, how do you find ways to make that useful but not feel clunky, not feel weird, right? What kind of rewards come from that? That could be cool, right? And so the honest answer is like aesthetic, right? Aesthetic rewards are what would do well. As Chicken said, I don't think too much. I don't think too much diversion into your order hall should be in the story of the expansion. But like, what if you're questing along or doing something or whatever, and you find like a little hidden treasure chest, right? And in that treasure chest, you find that there is a skull, and the skull's just like bleeding, right? It's just like blood's just kind of like slowly dripping out of it, like, and that's just it. It's just like a skull with like blood, but you're like, oh, you sense that there's like power coming from this skull, right? Yeah. And so a little quest pops up because you found that item. It's like, hey, take this back to your order hall. And so you take that back to the Death Knight order hall, which actually I don't have the Death Knight order hall set for the Legion one on my Death Knight. I never did Legion on my current Death Knight, so I don't have that one. I have it on like another DK, but not the one I play.
Sure.
Which is awesome right now because my my death gate takes me right down to Zolomon. So anytime I want to go to Zolomon, I just death gate and then hop over. If I need to be in like southern Zolomon, I'll just do that. It's a lot faster. Random little like observational piece. You know, who would have thought that that being there? But I'm getting so distracted right now. Point being, right? I get to the Death Knight order hall and I go into the guy and I turn the quest in. He goes, oh, this is interesting. This could unlock like a cool weapon, right? Like we actually think we could build like a axe using the magic of this skull, right? But you will need to collect these things, right? And then you go out and you like collect things and bring them back to your order hall. And it's totally unrelated to the story of the expansion. It's just a cool little random thing that gets you to do something, and the quest line has a little bit of lore in it about Death Knights and some history of Death Knights or something that happened maybe even more recently. Like maybe this skull was related to a DK who went missing during the 5-year time gap or something, whatever the case may be, right? That could be cool, right? Or you, I'm thinking again as Death Knight because that's what I often play. Maybe we come across something. Or we get a letter, right? Like we find a letter that's calling us back to the order hall, and we go back and they're like, hey, we have found like a new type of like undead minion that like we think could be really powerful in combat. And you're not really unlocking a new type of minion to summon, you're just unlocking a new appearance for your like little ghoul, right? Like a new ghoulish appearance, right? That could be cool, right? Like, I think just like those random cosmetic things where the story itself isn't taking you there, but there's like some random small side things, especially if you know where to look, you could find them. That could take you back to your order hall to go collect things. Because I do agree. I think order halls were really sick. They already exist, right? Like in Legion, they had to really use them because they put all the time into designing them. But now they just exist. They're just there. The space exists. Why not use it, right? So that would be my thought. My thought would be that, especially because we do see them right now more inclined to reuse old content than we've probably ever seen them before.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So with that said, though, we have 2 more listener questions that we will get to next week. If anyone else has any questions for the podcast, you can go to our Discord, go to the Pod Questions channel, drop them in there. And then, of course, make sure you listen to our episode next week as we talk about endgame zones, apparently, and why Swag thinks that they are ruining WoW. It's actually a very thoughtful conversation that I've been thinking about a lot recently, because I like endgame zones, but also I think they hurt lore. So that's a whole nother story for another time. But we're so thankful that you guys are all listening. If you are part of our new growth of YouTube listeners, welcome into the Warband. We are so glad you are joining us. And for everybody listening, we will see you all next week.
Yeah, buddy.